it too much.
Oh man, the coincidence. Or is it irony? We'll find out later. Anyway, so American Fro took a big chunk of time because it's very important to us and will always have a special place in my heart. I don't know about Luke, probably the same. So let's, for the next, I don't know, half hour, 20 minutes, because I got you here all day. Let's do a little something. Let's do something we've been wanting to talk about, and I thought it'd be fun to do, on this podcast. The Beatles. Let's talk about the Beatles. Okay, what is if you can remember, what is the first Beatles song you ever heard? If you can remember, but what's the first one that really hit home and made you really think, wow, these guys really are these geniuses that everybody says they are?
Wow.
I'm giving you the hard questions for the Beatles, man.
Wow. I don't know. I don't really remember the first song that I heard by the Beatles. I mean, you can't really pick.
Really hard.
You can't pick
It's like
that one song that you like by the Beatles. I mean, they're all good. I mean, you can't pick a bad Beatles song. But I think that the love of the Beatles is instilled in my blood because my grandfather on my mom's side, he was so obsessed with the Beatles back when they were the Beatles, of the popularity of the British invasion and the coming over. He lived through the Beatles stuff. I mean, he was one of their cult followers. And believe it or not, my grandfather grew out his hair, grew a mustache, beard combo deal, and literally thought that he was John Lennon reincarnated. He was so obsessed with them. He had like all their albums. His bathroom is dedicated to the Beatles and everything. So
That's awesome. I mean,
I think that
all the cool, like Abbey Road.
Yeah, like I think that
as you're dropping a deuce.
I think that the love of the Beatles was passed on to me through generations.
Through
and
the bloodline.
Through the bloodline. I mean,
the Beatles are in your blood.
I mean, if I could, I would go back in time and follow them religiously through their tours.
So you don't remember your first song, and I'm gonna ask you later what your favorite one is. So think of it now, and I'm giving you other ones. If you had to pick between the two, would you pick John Lennon or would you pick Paul McCartney? I'm gonna know this answer because I know you, but the people that are listening to this won't. So pull it to your head, John Lennon. Oh, that's not nice to say.
That's pretty bad.
Okay, if you had to choose
Because the bullet to the head, I'd totally pick John Lennon, and then I'd probably get shot and die because, you know.
But anyway, so who are you gonna pick? John Lennon, Paul McCartney.
John, can you imagine it?
You see what he did there. All right. Why John Lennon though? Why do you think you maybe connect more, resonate more? He resonates more than Paul.
Damn, dude. I think I choose John. I think because in my mind he was the better songwriter. He was more. I mean, he's the better singer, I guess. I mean, they all kind of sound the same, but I think John's writing abilities were a little bit more developed, a little bit more advanced. And, I mean, I connect with him better on Rock Band, so that might be part of it, too. The Beatles Rock Band, yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty good singer at that, so, whatever.
Oh, in your mind, maybe, but, I think I would pick Paul, because, I don't know, I like that.
That's because Paul's still around.
No. No, I like Paul's maybe a little bit more because what I liked about Paul McCartney, and we'll talk more about this too because we're going to talk about the Beatles breakup because we're on a Beatles kick and I want to talk about it. But because one of the reasons they broke up was because John wanted to be more reflective on himself as an artist and Paul wanted to make more like pop sounding songs. Normally I'd be against pop music, but I'm just saying when the Beatles did songs like that, they were so good, and that's why I like them. And the same argument could be made about John Lennon's songs, like Dear Prudence and Over Me and all these other songs, they could be said about that. But that's why I like them, because like Back in the USSR is probably one of my top 5 favorite Beatles songs, and that's a very pop song. So that's why I picked Paul. Do we care about Ringo? Oh yeah. No, say what you gotta say about
I don't remember what I was going to say, but I mean...
to get off this whole fascination with the ocean and the sea. Because the submarine and the octopus.
His obsession with the sea was pretty great, though. Not going to lie. Those are good songs. But, I mean, was it George that had the Christmas album?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good, too.
George Harrison he was the guy that kind of came into it.
Those two were, they weren't given enough credit in the Beatles.
Ringo and George, yeah. Okay. So, because I just want to hear it. Tell me how you feel about Yoko Ono. She's still alive. Is she still alive?
Yeah, she's still alive.
Yoko, don't listen to this part of the podcast because it's going to get really mean and really nasty. Luke Moyer, what do you think of Yoko Ono?
Out of all the fucking people in the whole fucking world, the man had to choose her. He could have had any piece of tail. He could have had tall women, short women, blonde women, brunette women. He could have had a redhead. Any combination of women would have been 100%, 1,000 times better than that woman, Yoko Ono. I blame the split of the Beatles and the reason why John died on her, because I just hate her. I do not like her one bit. If you ever listen to her music, her records or anything, it's just her screaming. It's so annoying. It is like the worst possible thing you could ever. If you had a combination of fingernails on a chalkboard, screws in a blender, and a dog getting hit by a car, that is no comparison to how bad Yoko Ono is.
Okay, so as you can see, Yoko, if you're listening to this, Luke is not a fan. I know I'm going to get him a Yoko Ono album for Christmas. He's definitely going to love that.
Fire kindling.
So, okay, he blames the Yoko for the breakup of the Beatles. It kind of seemed imminent, though, those guys breaking up, because all those guys are so good at everything.
Too much of an ego.
Too much talent.
Ego power. I mean, you got...
And John and Paul were kind of condescending to the other guys of the band, because they're like, well, we're writing all the music, we're singing all the music, and then George comes in, writes a couple songs, Ringo writes a couple songs, and kind of is like, yeah, back off, okay, we can all do this, don't be dicks. If there is one, is there one song that you're not particularly fond of by the Beatles?
You can't pick a bad song. There isn't a bad Beatles song.
That's all I need to hear. That's the right answer, dude. That was a test. I would have to say, though, one of my favorites is probably Dear Prudence.
Prudence is probably one of the top.
Could you pick... I'm going to say it now, because I was going to put it in the lightning round, but I'll just ask now. Is there, in any particular order, what are your favorite, your top 5 in any order, favorite Beatles songs?
Dude, I can't...
I can give you some. Okay, mine would probably, in no particular order, would be Back in the USSR, Dear Prudence, Money Can't Buy My Love. That's 3, right? Shit, this is hard. Shoot. So there's that one. I would probably say Twist and Shout. And Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. It's when they did the 2 songs. You know what I'm talking about, right? I'd probably say that. So it'd be Back in the USSR, Money Can't Buy Me Love, Twist and Shout, Sgt. Pepper, and that other one I said. I already forgot it. Luke, give me your 5 in any particular order.
Here Comes the Sun.
Oh, it's a good one. I didn't think of that one.
Maxwell's Silver Hammer. Prudence. That's 3.
Oh, Dear Prudence as well.
Yeah. Dear Prudence. I don't know. Hey Jude's a pretty good one.
There's so many.
Not gonna lie.
I'm gonna make a top 10.
Not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to go with the Yellow Submarine.
Really?
Yes.
Got a Ringo in there.
How many is that?
Is that 5? I think that's 4.
It's 4.
You said
Here Comes the Sun. Dear Prudence.
Maxwell Silver Hammer, Yellow Submarine. You got one more.
Okay, I got one more. Ticket to Ride.
Really? That's one of them?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not judging you because you could easily make a top 10 or 15
I can make
top Beatles. Just that, and I'm glad we had this conversation because they're such a good band, and we both liked the Beatles a lot. We never really had conversations about it, so this is kind of like our first.
Thing we got drunk and played the drop band.
Right? She's got a ticket to ride. Yeah, that's a good one. She's got a ticket to ride. Anyway, as we're coming to a close in this podcast, I gotta ask you some quick lightning round questions. I want an answer, and I want them now, and I gotta know. Favorite Stallone movie?
Rocky.
Other than Rocky.
Oh, other than Rocky?
That was my bad.
Over the Top.
Classic. Best Rocky?
1.
All right. Favorite wrestler of any era? We haven't talked about wrestling. I was surprised we didn't.
I don't
Bring it back on. I'll bring it back on the podcast.
probably have to go with Triple H.
Triple H. Hunter Hearst Helmsley is your number 1 all-time favorite wrestler.
Well, I mean, I'd go with Hulk Hogan, but I mean, that's overdone. So I'm gonna go with Triple H because of DX.
I think it's not any of that. I think you just want to bang Stephanie McMahon.
I want to be Triple H. Let's be honest. Another time.
Another time. Favorite band, and it's not the Beatles, obviously.
Beatles go without saying.
Yeah, so we can't, other than not the Beatles. Favorite band.
Zeppelin.
Getting the let out. We could have a whole. You know what we need to do? Bring Tommy in and just have a three-way conversation about everything with rock. So look for that. That's going to be on this podcast. All right, so we got all that. Favorite TV show?
I don't really watch TV.
It counts if you watch it on Netflix.
We're gonna go back to my childhood of the '90s and go with the Batman animated series.
Good show. Favorite movie?
Like movie?
Just favorite movie. Favorite animated movie, but it'd be the same as your favorite movie. So let's just say your favorite movie.
The Lion King.
I knew that. You guys didn't. That's why I asked it. Any other lightning round questions I can think of? I think we're good. Favorite cousin?
I'm not at liberty to say. See you next time.
All right. Well, Luke, thank you for being on the podcast. It was only a matter of time.
You're welcome.
So American Fro Begins. He's going to be in it as Master Kenshi, the villain. I'm going to be the Fro. American Fro Begins will be out everywhere. At what time? The year? July 20th.
July.
Are you sure you're working on the movie? Yeah, Luke's going to be in it.
I'm not the calendar man. I don't know dates.
Batman reference. God, what have you talked about Batman? Don't have a year. I'll bring you back on the podcast. We're going to be talking about Batman. I'll bring you back again with Tommy. We'll have a Led Zeppelin and
I'm just going to be a regular on the show.
a rock revival conversation. But anyway, that was Luke Moyer. Always fun to talk to Luke. I think it's more fun to have you guys listen to him. But that's all we have for this episode. Stay tuned. I don't know who I'm going to have next week. That's the beauty of my show. It could be a dog, could be a cat, could be a unicycle. You don't know what it's going to be. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. If you haven't already, follow me on Twitter @alumberjake. Like me on add me on Facebook, Jacob Anthony Williams.